Hello, students, learners, teachers. Well, everyone really, we're all in this together, aren't we? We should be learning every day. I know I am. I'm just as much a student or a learner as I am a teacher or tutor. Now, before I get started on today's video topic, I want to remind you that this is not rehearsed, it's not scripted. Most of these Friday videos, at any rate, are just having a chat. It's like a live feed or a live video. And I'm planning on doing maybe a live video on Facebook. I haven't tried that out yet. And maybe some new live lessons on a different platform. I used to use WizIQ. I think I'll be using something else next time. But these videos are just a chat with you about various topics in learning and education. And today's topic is, why do I need to know that? And I hear this over and over again from my students. Or another version is, I don't need to know this. I don't want to know this. I don't need to know this. Why are they teaching me this? And there's a lot of complaints from students, especially grade school and high school, but I know that older students too sometimes disregard certain parts of the course, or they work their way through it, but they hate it, they don't enjoy it, they don't like it, and they're saying to themselves, why do I need to learn this? Why do I need to know this? I'm going to give you a couple of ideas on why maybe you need to know this, and the other point I'm going to say now, which might surprise you, is you don't need to know all of those things, and you won't know all of those things forever. We all forget. I think we forget probably a lot more than we think. I know that sometimes when I go back and I'm looking through my bookshelf and I see an old textbook from a university course from many years ago, I'm not telling you how many, I think, oh, I remember the course, but I really don't remember very much of the information or the facts that I learned in the course. I know in some cases I really enjoyed the course, but I just don't remember all the facts. But that's not so important. What is important is that I went through the process. I learned the material at the time. Yes, a lot of the factual information has at least partially left me. But I also know that if I start rereading that text, or if I took another course in the same discipline, all of that information would start to come back to me very quickly, much more quickly than it did the first time, because it's still there. I just haven't been accessing it for many years. So that's one point. It's very important to learn as much as you can and have a very broad learning, because you never know where you're going to want to go in the future. Particularly if you're in grade school or high school, you're still very young, and you might think you know what you want to do at university, but many first and second year university students, and sometimes even later, change their minds about what they really want to do. They discover more, and either they just like this area more, so they move in that direction, or they find out they don't really like the area that they thought they were going to really enjoy and get involved in, so they adjust. And it may be within the same discipline, or it may be a completely different discipline, and that's fine. But in high school or grade school, you want a broad education. In that way, you can move in whatever direction you need to later. That information will still be there somewhere, and you'll have access to it. At least you'll have that foundation to start building on, whether you're moving towards science or math or the humanities and philosophy or psychology or history or some other discipline. So that's why you're going to be learning things that, it's true, when you're 40, 50, you're not going to be using some of that information from history in your life. You're not going to use all of that information from geography in your everyday life. But if you did decide to go back to school, or you did decide at university to change your discipline, you could access that information. You have the ability to go back there and do it again. Now here's another point. Do we only want to learn what we need to know? And this is what I hear, I don't need to know this. Well, we don't do everything in life because we need to. We don't need to eat those potato chips. We don't need to eat that chocolate bar. We don't need to eat that pizza. I don't need to listen to music. You might think you need to listen to music, and it's certainly enjoyable, but you don't need to. You will survive without it. It may not be as pleasant, but you will survive. You need, what, maybe 1,700 to 2,000 calories a day to live relatively comfortably, nutritiously, I suppose. But I think most of us want to eat what we want to eat. We want to enjoy our food. We want to enjoy. You don't need to drink anything but a bit of water every day to survive, but we do more than what we need. So that argument doesn't really work. Just, I don't need this. First of all, you don't know what you might need in the future, as I mentioned before. And secondly, why do you only want what you need? Don't you want more than that out of life? And I think you should want more than that out of learning. It's your education. You should turn that thought around and think not, why do I need to learn this? And think, why don't I need to learn this? Why can't I learn this? Why can't I have as much knowledge as possible? Why can't I get as much learning as possible? And if you go into learning, into a course, into the school, with that more positive attitude, with that idea of I'm going to get as much as I can out of this because it's for me and it's my benefit to learn as much as possible, then I think you'll have a happier time, just like eating your pizza once in a while or having a nice, I don't know, a nice big breakfast or something. You can enjoy the learning because you've converted those thoughts into it's just work and doing it for someone else, like the teacher, my parent, or my spouse, whatever, and you've turned it into I'm doing it for me. This is a benefit for me. All those other benefits are great, but it's really all about you because it's your brain and it's your knowledge that is going to be gained. So another thing is trying to stay positive, trying to find a way of enjoying a topic or subject. So maybe history is not your favorite subject, or maybe math is something that you really don't love, you really don't like. Try to find something in there that applies to you. Try to find something in there that you can enjoy. Sometimes you have to fake it until you make it. In other words, you have to just pretend, just make up a story, make up some imaginative way of entering into that subject or that course. Play some games with the information. Play some games with yourself to see how can I improve? How can I do better than I did last time? How can I take a note, maybe draw a picture and put the information around the picture so that I can make this information work for me? And I can't give you a specific for every single person because everyone is a little different. But if you work at it, you can find lots of ways of connecting with the knowledge, connecting with the information, and then try to spin that to your advantage so that you can enjoy the course some more. I didn't enjoy every course I took equally. They weren't all the same. Some of them were very, very difficult, a lot of work. And that's not always the most enjoyable when you're in the middle of it or when there's a big exam coming. You may feel a little overwhelmed sometimes. But the benefit afterward is greater if you go into it with a more positive attitude and you try to make those connections and try to make it work for you. So I want you to try to turn those thoughts around and not be saying, why do I need to know this? Or worse still, I don't want to learn this. And turn it into a more positive idea of, I really do want to learn as much as I can here, even if I'm not going to be a chemist in my future, or even if I'm not going to be a famous writer. So why do I need to know how to write a paragraph? Well, writing a paragraph may be important for a report writing in an industrial situation or a business job. You may, to get that promotion, need to be able to write succinctly and correctly, grammatically. So there may be a lot of lessons within that course that are going to help you in areas, in jobs that you never even thought of. And remember, it's not just what you need to know, it's what you get to know. There are people dying to get knowledge, dying to learn. So if you're in a position that you can get that education, that you have the advantage of having that, please, please, please try to turn it into a positive experience. A tutor can help you. I've helped lots of students. They don't all listen to me, I'll be honest, but if they do, and they usually do eventually, they find that it's a lot easier, and then you learn a lot more. If you're happy, or at least happier, when you're going into a course, you're going to learn a lot more. You're going to remember a lot more because you're engaged, and you're probably going to continue to look for further information to support your learning. So be positive, turn those thoughts around, and there's some ideas of why do I need to know this. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, put a comment or a question down. I'll try to answer as soon as I can. And you can contact me by email as well. Check out the website. There will be links below. And I think on this video I'll put a link to the Study Skills program. There'll be a savings coupon there. So have fun. It's Ron again from LTL Tutoring Central. Have fun learning, and I'll talk to you later.